This is the web series For the Love of BIM, promoting Barbados, everything Bajan Canadian, and everything Canadian Bajan. Welcome back to this special edition of the web series For the Love of BIM, where we pay tribute to Alex Waithe. Now I'll hand back over to Sugar.
Now, I could tell you so many stories about Alex. So many funny stories and so many funny pictures and clips that we are going to be able to stay here for a few days. However, we only have a few minutes, so I'll just give you just one. I remember one time Alex had to go visit somebody, and he said, "Sugar, I want a little job." I said, "No problem." Went and pick up Alex in Barbados. We left Alex's house with a picture of the house. No directions, nothing at all. But you know, in true Alex fashion, we find the house. It was somewhere in St. Philip. Only Mr. Waith. Now, Alex didn't only volunteer on radio. He did some of the less fun things, but Alex made it fun. After the devastating Hurricane Maria in 2017 in Dominica, Alex went to Dominica to help rebuild.
Accuracy.
Yeah.
Accuracy.
Yeah.
Say something to the camera, man, Ken.
Yeah, man, he good, man.
He good?
He can do something.
Yeah, Alex, let's hear you, Alex. Say something, man. Say something.
I'm good, man. I like it. That's good. All right.
Yeah, we get in there, man. We get in there.
All right.
And he was always involved in gathering food supplies to fill a barrel to send down to any West Indian island that had an issue after a natural disaster. He also donated books over the years to his primary alma mater in Christchurch, St. Lawrence Primary School.
Thanks for the opportunity to say a few words about Alex. We have been very close over the last 25, 30 years. You know, we went to school together in Barbados, but he left in the early 80s to go continue studying in Canada. We didn't reconnect till the early 90s. And, you know, we worked throughout the years on so many different projects and music. And Alex was always this cheerful, thoughtful, generous. You know, he had that teacher, but empathetic personality that just kind of roped you right in. You know, we hit it off right away. We spent a lot of time working on different things that we felt very passionate about, obviously, Barbadian music and culture, Caribbean music and culture. He took enormous risk in producing so many shows here and bringing up artists from Barbados. And you know how that difficult that can be. But over the years, Alex just persisted, and he was always there to help me when I was in need in terms of my own musical progress. And, you know, he was someone I could call on for advice, and not only professionally, but as a friend. And he's going to be so sorely missed by so many people, not only me. I am so grateful to have known him, and I'm grateful to Alexandra for the opportunity to visit him when he was in his final chapter, and just to share that experience. It was a privilege to know Alex, and I'm really going to miss him. He was a brother, he was a friend, he was someone that will always be in my heart. Alex, you did well. We love you.
While having a discussion about Lent, I had a brief chat with Canon Stephen Fields about Alex Waithe, they both having attended Boys Foundation School in Barbados.
We're talking about school, you know, many years ago. Discussing Andre's speed, you know, and his successes on the track. He told me, no, Stephen, I was also in track, you know. So really, you see, he was a class 4 champion for 100 runner. you know, and I think he was in set D at school. I was in set B. I think he was in set D, you know, but he told me he was a 400 runner, man. Champion, not champion. Yeah, yeah, but a great chap. I mean, again, so often when I was at St. Stephen's down in Dunsview, I can call him and a morning. We got a program at the church happening on next week. Can I come in to talk about it at CHRY? Went in and we chatted, you know, the program and then other things as well. I mean, he was really supportive of the church community programs. You know, promoted it. You know, without any thought about it. Just yes, you know, what's happening? Let me know, and it was on the ear. You know, an amazing guy. Gone too soon. Gone just too soon.
I met Alex over 30 years ago. That was the time I was married to his niece. And over those years, we've done so many things together. Alex and I attended almost every event at Crop Over. We did cricket at Kensington. We even went to private parties when we were not even invited. Alex knew everybody. He could get us into every event. I loved him so bad. Anyway, we're going to miss him. I certainly will. I miss those parties. He would take you to a party, you would never be bored. He would have so many questions. He would know everyone. He would meet people and bring them over and introduce them to you, no matter who it is. I enjoy going out with him. I'm going to miss that, most of all.
I would have been introduced to Alex in the 80s, but I really started to come to Toronto via his good graces in the 90s. And one of the things that I was always very impressed with the organization of any of the events that he put on. Everyone would agree that his love for Barbados is almost like unparalleled. I mean, he would go out of his way to ensure that all things Barbadian were at least known about through Alex Waithe in the Toronto area. And I believe that if he could do it right across Canada, he would. So a classic example, he got me into a radio station in Toronto once to do a morning program and to actually play live with my band Jegna on that particular program. And for me, that was a real stepping stone because it moved myself and my music into the wider Toronto area, and which opened up doors for me to come back and do other things, not only through the Barbados Tourist Board, but other private things that I had the opportunity to come back to Toronto and do with my band. So I was very, very grateful for that. He's always there that you could bounce something off. For me, even with me coming into this position, we would spend not a lot of time on the telephone, but we would spend time in WhatsApp or even emails, just bouncing ideas off of how can we improve, let's say from copyright to whatever else, you know, that could help the industry. And so I was always very thankful for that. He really speaks to the best of what Barbados has to offer. Because like him, you know, I mean, most of us who are, you know, 50 or over would have grown up in Barbados in a certain framework, with certain values and certain principles and different things like that. And I think that Alex, as Alex the person, would have been the epitome of those old Barbadian values that we still cherish so much, and which I'm hoping that those of us who knew him would be able to carry on that sort of thing in our own lives so we can impact on others. So I think apart from the business side of the music and all of the other things, that teaching part of him was special. And like everyone else in this, I'd like to just send my condolences to his family and to his friends. He will always be a part of the Barbadian story. And he would always be a part of the entertainment story for Barbados. And so, you know, he might not be here physically, but I'm sure when I say this, I speak for everyone who has ever come into contact with him in the entertainment fraternity. He will always, always be here. Thank you.
Boy, let me talk about Alex Waithe. Lovely, lovely gentleman. And I like to use the term gentleman when I speak of Alex. Alex was a fun guy. Alex was also the type of person that nothing seems to bother Alex. I've never seen Alex angry. I wonder if he knew how to be angry. Alex, I think I met Alex back in the 90s. For sure, it was in the 90s while I was with Troubadours. And then I officially met Alex when I was with Coalition. He actually brought Coalition up to Toronto to perform. And there's where I met Sugar. Sugar always about here. Yeah, so when you heard Alex, you heard Sugar. And these guys were always there for us. Alex was the one to always make sure, you guys all right? Everything is going fine. Everybody good. You know, always that funny kind of guy. Alex didn't let anything bother him as far as I'm concerned. I don't think anything bothered that gentleman. And him being gone, it is kind of strange hearing Alex not being here. He's always looking out for Barbadian culture, always looking out for Barbadian entertainers. And once there's Alex around, you'll be quite sure that Alex is going to push Barbadian entertainers and Barbados entertainment. That's what he was always about this rock. And he did it all with a smile, no matter what's going on. It's always a smile from Alex. And gonna miss that guy. Definitely gonna miss that guy. Gonna miss people taking the mickey out of him, and he's just smiling. Nothing bothers that man, nothing at all. And always well spoken, always. And it's only a while after I realized, wait a minute, this man, he's Bajan, but he's always so well spoken. Oh, he's an English teacher. He was. So I mean, wonderful gentleman. I could go on and on and on about speaking the wonders of Alex, but all I gotta say is that condolences to his family and loved ones. I know the likes of Sugar, you're gonna have that void for a while, Alex not being around, but as John said, and we're both Johns, Walker and King, Alex is still here. Alex is among us, and Alex will always be among us because Alex was that caring person, and Alex, even in his passing, Alex will remain that caring person, looking out for us all. And peace and love to Alex. Rest in peace, my brother, until we meet again.
Yo, keep it locked. You're listening to Kaiso Rising on CHRY 105.5 FM. Big up Alex, Kevin, the voice, Malik Sugar. We say, pull up that and run it again.
It's a pleasure of mine to certainly be part of this experience as we pay tribute to a dear friend of mine, a Barbadian gem, I like to call him, one who truly has the heart of Barbados, and he exemplified that in everything he did, whether it was his work on the radio stations, playing Barbadian music, keeping the Toronto audience, and of course the international audience, keeping them well informed as far as the Bajan culture, the Bajan heritage, the Bajan life is concerned. Whether it is his love for Barbadian politics, irrespective of political persuasion and affiliation, his was a deep interest in what was happening in Barbadian politics. And of course, with the belief that all will be well. And then, of course, we speak of Alex, the Barbadian who exemplified Barbadiana. I say that simply to suggest to you how Alex, on his many trips back home, used what is Barbados. Alex loved the sea. He loved the Bajan waters. Alex loved the good Bajan beer. Alex loved the Bajan foods. He was Barbadian, truly an ambassador. I also want to, in this experience, speak of Alex as a good friend. When I met him, it was through a family of mine, a cousin of mine. And from that day, we clicked. And of course, we shared particular interests, whether it be in culture, whether it be in politics, all of which I spoke about earlier. Alex and I shared the same interests. And so we had some exhilarating conversations about the same subjects. But a true friend is one who truly comes to you at a time when you are perhaps at your lowest. I recall when I was diagnosed with colon cancer, Alex was extremely annoyed to one extent. He was sad. He was inquisitive as far as my progress and all that is concerned. And every time he came to Barbados, that was the core of our conversation, always. And even at times when I really didn't feel like talking about it, Alex was able to pull that energy and to certainly allow us to share those moments. And then he became a friend of family, a friend of my friends, and it just propelled in that regard. I am saddened today as we speak of Alex in a former sense, but I would want to certainly encourage all to remember him for the Alex Waithe we know, the true Barbadian son of the soil, a true friend, a confidant, and one who in whatever he did, no matter what the circumstance, brought that warmth, that smile, and certainly that sense of humor. Alex Waithe, a Barbadian gem, and one I will never, ever forget.
Dad, I want to thank you for your constant love, support, advice, guidance, humor, and laughter. Even our arguments that I would call arguments, you would say healthy debates. You have instilled in me a deep love for your island. And as a child, I remember listening to Red Plastic Bag and Crossfire and dancing and all things Calypso and Soca since we were really, really young. I'm grateful for our endless trips to Barbados and for being able to visit your primary school down the road. You welcomed so many of my friends to our home over the years, and I won't forget Crop Over 2016 and all the special March breaks I shared. My dad was just, he just loved it. I have friends that have not just come to Barbados once, but twice, 3, 4, 5 times. But it all started with him, as Michael knows, because he was there too with us. Thank you for all the travel memories and the long and hilarious plane rides to and from Kenya. That was a trip. I know people were shocked that you went because you actually missed Crop Over festivities that year. So everyone was very shocked that he wasn't there. He was in Kenya with me. I'm going to miss dancing and singing with you all night long. I even enjoyed it when you put me to work during many of your events. And I loved watching you on stage doing your thing on all of the different platforms. You consistently stress the importance of education for all of us and the joy of lifelong learning. I became a teacher because of you, and I'm only now seeing the impact you had on your students through the various tributes we're seeing online. And some of these students weren't even his students. They just met in the hallway or the cafeteria. I hope that I can become half the teacher and educator you were. I know you were dancing in heaven. I can see the leg dance, and I know you're dancing with all our family and your dear friends that have passed. I miss you, I love you, and in your words, I'm giving thanks for all the memories, and I'm going to continue to remember your advice to look up at the clouds and embrace life.
As news spread of Alex's passing, many people reached out to his family and friends to offer their condolences. As tributes came in, there were video tributes, some were photo tributes, some just sent voice notes, but there were others who just had no words. Their emotion was no less sincere.
I met Alex in 1994. The first time I went on tour, the second time I went on tour with Pampalam. First time was in England, but we went in 94 and I met Alex and Smokey and Susan Grogan at the same time. I remember we were picked up and we went straight to the theater where we were supposed to perform. So everybody getting introduced, he would have known the Victor Clifford and Wendell Smith and Myrna and those, but he never met me before. And he said, "Who's this little girl I want to bring?" And Smokey said, "I know she, that's Carol Springer daughter." And from then it went off. It went completely off. Alex would not leave me alone. And we became really good friends from then. Alex was always had a smile. Even though he was cussing me and Wendell, he would still smile with that big split grin that he had. And I mean, it wasn't bad cussing or anything. There was business. But when that business was finished, we were back to normal and we were friends. And Alex used to be in Barbados so often. So I would always see Alex when he came home. I would say, "You back again? Cheese on bread. You don't got nothing to do in Canada?" And that was always our joke. Always our joke. Years later, when Andy and myself and Algie Yearwood and Grenville Level started Sage Theatre Company, we wanted to go to Canada to do Going for Love. And we went twice with Andy. I can't remember. I think we went twice. But one of the times we went, it was with AW Productions. I didn't know he was sick. I only heard when he passed, and it hurt a lot. But I will always be grateful to Alex for all of the work he did with Barbadian artists. Countless times I was in Canada and I went to Square One. I mean, he used to have so many concerts. I remember being probably a lot of them. We used to do Barbados on the Water with Laugh It Off, and seeing Crossfire and Square One and Coalition, everybody up there performing. And it was almost like one big Bajan family at these performances, because if Laugh It Off was performing, the others came. If Crossfire was performing, we would go there too, and Alex was always in the midst of it. One of the things he used to love to do is when we finished performing, going by Susan's house, the House of Soul. He was a gentleman, he was a good friend, and he really promoted Barbados. And I don't think there's anybody else that we can think of in Canada or anywhere else that has done as much promotion of Bajan music and Bajan arts as Alex has. Condolences to Alex's family. All of us artists who knew of him and knew him well. I am really going to miss that smile.
Tributes and condolences were expressed from the members of the Barbadian and Caribbean associations here in Canada, the Barbadian diaspora, many other entertainers from Barbados and Canada, as well as many more of Alex's friends. Over the years, Alex worked closely with the Barbados consulate here in Toronto, as well as the BTMI, in promoting everything Barbadian. On behalf of the government and people of Barbados, the team at the consulate here in Toronto, and on my own behalf, I want to extend deepest condolences to Alex's family and friends. May he rest in eternal peace.
Alex and I had an interesting relationship because, first of all, Alex was the first person to bring Square One, Alex and Smokey Burke, at the time to take Square One to Canada, to Toronto. I had been there before, but with the entity Square One, Alex, so I have to give that to Alex. He saw the vision, and of course, being a person who was very, very into Barbadian culture. Alex not only brought Square One, but he did Crossfire as well. And in fact, after Square One met up with a Trinidadian promoter who then started to do the shows in Toronto with us, Alex and I used to have this little tit for tat between us every time, because every time he came to Barbados, he would visit number one record shop, because he always came, made sure he got all of the music from the current festival, and he would take it back up and he would promote and he would do his thing. And every time he came, I would fret him about not bringing back Square One again. You jealous because we gone with a Trinidadian promoter, and he would, all Alex would do is just laugh it off, and say but Anderson, so those are the kinds of memories. And I mean, I did it for eons, for years. Every time I saw him, one of the first things they would do is fret him about, favoring Crossfire over Square One. And he would just always laugh it off. We had a pretty good relationship. it was fun, and we just, you know, Alex was Alex. So all I could say at this point in time, you know, condolences to his family, to his close friends. I know Sugar will miss him a lot. All of us will miss him. He was always here supporting culture, supporting whatever was going on. I believe he had some advice for me the last encounter we had, and I gotta always thank him for that, because he was always very supportive of the things that you did, you know. And yeah, condolences to his family, his friends, and may he rest in peace and rise in glory.
Ain't really much I could add to this whole thing besides the difference between me and everybody else is that Alex would have held me in his arms as a baby many times, because him and his brother Loser, basically I raised up in Barbados near them, and where my grandmother and them when I had a shop. They used to frequent. These guys just used to live, just used to enjoy themselves. And this is the one thing that I would say for Alex Waithe. For everything else, he has always just lived his life. Every time that I butt up on Alex, even just before he went back to Canada, the same thing. The one thing was he was completely positive. You have to be real unfortunate or fortunate to ever butt Alex in a bad mood or a sad mood. He was just somebody who rolled with the punches. He's somebody who just did what he had to do. And I learned a lot from Alex, just simply watching him doing promotions and recognizing that things not gonna go well, but he made it look like everything was good. That's who he was up to his dying day. He's the sort of person that everything must look or feel positive right to the end. Real talk.
Whether you knew Alex Waithe from his newsletters, as a teacher, distributor, radio host, MC, family member, or friend, I am sure he will not be easily forgotten. Alex was a fun-loving fella. We have really lost a son of the soil, a Caribbean man, a Canadian man, and by extension, the world. I will miss teasing Alex from A to Z, whether it was about politics, about the big head, about the choice of music, his non-existent fashion sense, or even his choice of rum. That is what I am going to miss about Alex, because whatever you tell Alex, it never fazed him. He would want you to remember the good times, of which there are many. Who could forget Alex's smile? He never got angry, never got sad. All he would say is, "My way want me do." Remember that about Alex. We will forever remember the contributions to the community, both in Barbados and in Canada, and as I mentioned, by extension, the Caribbean. I hope you enjoyed this little snippet into the life of Alex Waithe. I, for one, will miss him dearly, as many of his friends will as well, and his family. Rest well, my brother, until we meet again.
if only to see you rise. If this was my destiny, to help you to see the prize, I would gladly do it over. 'Cause for me you were my life. So just promise me forever that I'll live on through your eyes until we meet again. Until we meet again. Together we shared so much. We've been through the good and bad. I'm grateful for all my time. The best love that I could have. May God bless my soul. May the heavens smile on me. We've come such a long, long way. Let's rise for eternity. Hope that I helped your tomorrow with my yesterday today. If my final wish be granted, let not efforts be in vain. Until we meet again. Until we meet again. Oh, when the time stands still, as I felt thee well, I am born again through your lives. I am cried with you, now I rise with you. From this moment I live through your eyes. With God's grace I say goodbye.